Welcome everyone, all of our alums, all of our faculty, our staff and team members. It's quite an honor to be here to actually open and do the grand opening for our archives. And this is just the beginning, but it's long, as you all know, it's long overdue. And as I stand here and right behind me with the Civil War flag that was sewn and put together by our co-eds here at Upper Iowa University, where they fought in battles throughout the Civil War, where they were as the 12th Infantry Iowa, where they were in Shiloh, Battle of Shiloh. Tremendous history we do. This is the original flag. And someone just commented, it's backwards. And while that's true, as the original flag, when they had, it had been placed in a location for such a long time, a lot of it had worn off on the other side, so this was the best way that we could to display this with the colors and as it is. And so we're just extremely proud and pleased to have that battle flag that was flown. So it's great, and you all know the history of this great university since 1857. And so our history even started before then. And as I take a look at this, I think back nearly 3 years ago when I took over as president. I recall when the Gable family came in here, and we had the president's house in Parker Fox at the time, and they were coming in and they wanted to come back, and they're descendants of C.C. Parker. C.C. Parker, which you can see some of the displays over here. C.C. Parker was the surgeon for the Company C that fought in the Civil War that was made up of Upper Iowa. So they wanted to come back, and they had done a lot for the university. Well, we couldn't find much, you know, and he wanted, C.C. Parker had donated some, I think it was some bulbs and some other things to our science and math department, and we were not aware of some of this, but what had happened over the years, a lot of things were put in the basement. Over the years, a lot of things were moved around, and the big thing here is we have to always cherish our history. And you have to remember where you came from. We are here today because of those from the past. And I know that Becky Wadian and there's other members of this university that identified some things, they preserved some things as best they could, and they've done a great job. But what we've done now is from a generous gift from alumni, and especially I'd like to recognize Foster Cass, and his daughter Ann is here. We'll talk Foster does have a, yes, thank you. Foster and I, we talked at length about the history and about some of the artifacts, and so we started to dig up, try to get all these things, and we actually did a commission with a group so they could do an assessment of all of our artifacts, to take a look at where everything was, so we could do an inventory. We put a task force together, and I'll ask Holly to recognize those names of the task force, but I will tell you this, all the task force, we got a group to come in and they assessed everything, did a tremendous inventory. Our task force collected things, did a heck of a job. And I can't thank the task force members enough. Now, who are the members of the task force?
Wayne Converse, Scott Victor, Jackson Hayek, Joel Kuntz, Jan O'Brien, Bill Prohaska, Art Schultz, Irina Barzapon, Becky Wadian, and myself, and many of the libraries.
Many of the libraries. So a round of applause to all of them. So as you take a look at this, so we got a generous donation from Foster, and Foster's very passionate. Foster does not back off. He's 97 years old. He emails me all the time, in caps, all the time. So he's an amazing man, a very kind World War II veteran. But we talked about it. So we're able to get these cases, these display cases. We were able to pull all these items out and put them up and really show your history for all of you alums. And if you go over to Dorman Gym, and you can see Doc Dorman, some of the things there. And you can go over to Alexander Dickman, and then you can see some of the president's pictures that are up there. And then a World War II display there. So you do have this brochure that you see, the Foster Cass Historical Walk here, and it shows and this is going to get better, but I'll tell you, you can walk around campus and see all the different artifacts. So I probably seem a little excited about this, but I am. And I'm very proud of what everybody did. And I'm especially proud and thankful to Foster. So I'd like to ask Ann to come on up here. Okay. Okay. Ann wanted me to read this. It's all in caps. It's not really, I'm just teasing. By the way, Foster, at 97 years old, still riding a tricycle around, and he's in amazing shape. And literally, I will call him up, and he's amazing. So I just love him. So I'm going to read. This is a message from Foster, okay? My first purpose for creating an archives. There are many artifacts and items from the rich history of Upper Iowa University that should not be discarded or stored away, unavailable to students and friends. They should be preserved for future generations and made available for their understanding of the rich heritage that is so important in their lives today. My second purpose for creating an archives, there was a law passed by the U.S. Congress that may have affected more lives than any other law before or since it was passed. In October 1940, the universal drafting of all male eligible citizens became a law of the United States. This provided a source of manpower for the Army and indirectly all the armed services as well as the Merchant Marine. A man had to make a choice, either to be drafted into the Army or choose one of the other alternatives. Our country could never have survived without the combined efforts of all of these groups in World War II. From the time of the Civil War to the present day, students and graduates of Upper Iowa University have been part of the effort to preserve our heritage and our freedom. Those who serve their country, who have connections to Upper Iowa, will have a place for the preservation of their records and artifacts they leave behind. Their time was given, and for some of their lives were given to preserve this heritage. I hope that our efforts to preserve these priceless things will be successful and become a part of the learning experiences here at Upper Iowa University campus. It may be that I'm just trying to say thank you guys, I'll add Gales, to the friends and comrades who were not as fortunate as I during our efforts to win World War II. Foster Cass, 1941, class of 1941. So. And Foster is very passionate about this. And as I look around the room and I see our alumni here, you know, you'll see a lot of these displays. This is just the beginning. As we move forward, we are hiring our archivist who starts November 1st, right, Holly? November 16th. So very good. And so, and I will say one more time that up until this point, this was just a lot of people that cared, that put it together and made this happen. And this is the beginning. And Becky, you know, I'm not sure where Becky's at right now. Where you at, Becky? I have to really commend Becky because there was a lot of times, and in talking with Becky, that some things may have been moved or replaced or whatever. You were able to get those and you put them to the side and you've tried to maintain them, trying to preserve them. You're finally going to get some help, okay? And so, very good. So thank you, Becky, so very much. So, I guess now at this point, I'm going to call.
Ann has a few words.
Oh, you got some other words to say? Oh, go ahead.
My father has missed a few homecomings in the last 25 years, so making this decision this time for this very special homecoming was difficult for him. But he chose to send me as his proxy, and he wanted to thank the Board of Trustees, Dr. Duffy, and all those people listed on the back of the brochure for all your efforts to make this project up and running. And he's sitting home waiting to hear the word because I know he's got some things in mind. Thank you.
And thank you, Ann. Thank you. Okay, so at this time, what I'd like to do is, what's next? We got Holly. So Holly has some things to say, I guess, right?
I guess.
Okay. All right. We've rehearsed this now.
No, yes, we have, definitely. Thanks everyone for attending today. My role starting this was just to really be put in the Archives Task Force and to assist those who were already starting this project to keep going. And I was thinking, oh, I really don't like history. I don't, but you know, I will proudly support our president's office and our historians here at the university, and we'll move this forward. So as an alum of myself of 2010, I began to be more interested in my own alma mater by going through this process. But what really sparked my interest was meeting the Parker Gable family in June of this year when we opened up all the C.C. Parker artifacts. And their passion about UIU, about Fayette, Iowa, and about how we needed to get ourselves moving forward to get some displays that we can be proud of and that our alums can be proud of. So, since June, a lot of things have happened. The cases have arrived, and Becky and I, along with the committee and staff here in the library, have worked very hard to find the right things to put in these and to represent just a very small portion of our history from 1857. We have a long way to go. But I would not, I mean, I'm standing here on behalf of this thing. This is totally a group effort. I have a lot of people to thank here. Becky, for your positiveness, collaboration, and just being awesome to work with here. And the maintenance staff, oh my gosh, the maintenance staff. I asked for one maintenance person this week for one day. We got 5 in one day, and I think they've probably spent a good portion of this week here, and they're already very, very, very busy homecoming week. We have a recent grad from UIU, Charles. He's our student from France. He worked on the brochure that you're looking at today for the self-guided tour. And to Mike Van Sickle, who has helped take last-minute photos for us. And to my husband.
Whoever he is, who's your husband? That's him. That's him.
We were here until midnight last night, and I'm sure he wanted to kill me. Yeah. And embarrassed him and myself in this process. So no, actually, Tim, my husband Tim, runs the print shop here, and he has a lot of homecoming things to do throughout this week, but he has made this a priority to help all these photos in this area. And if you look around too, you will notice that a lot of the photos are originals. They have a little sticker up in the corner. He's working very, very hard to copy those photos and to put a copy up in there so that we can accurately preserve the original for future generations to come. And this will also be, as we get our inventory, this will be on the website. So everybody can share these photos and that they can see them. And they don't just have to come to the Fayette campus to do it, because we know not everybody can make it here. But as President Duffy stated, the adventure has only begun. These cases here, we have 5 more that will be arriving by the end of the month. I don't know if we've identified everything that are going to go in those yet, but we will here shortly. And our archivist can help out with that. After her arrival for November 16th, we have a lot for her to do when she first gets started. So we are excited about that. But as alums and as friends of the university, if you have things, if you know people who have things, we want to display your history and your history here at Upper Iowa University and our heritage. Please talk with Becky. She's collecting donations now for any of our artifacts that go here on the end. Talk to the advancement staff and see how you can help. We would love to display your heritage here at UIU. Thank you.
I do want to add our oldest living alum, Emma Huff. She's 110 years old. She turns 111 in December. Turns 111. She's amazing. I'll tell this quick story. Came back through Rye. We went through Sumner. We're down in, so I showed up in my biker shorts. And I said, "Hi, Emma, how are you doing?" She looked at me and she goes, "What are you wearing?" You know, and I said, "They're my new shorts. Do you like them?" And she goes, "They are too tight." So anyway, but she's wonderful, and
She'll be in the parade on Saturday.
what's that? Oh, yes, she will be in the parade. That's correct. But I want to also add, we've started also doing oral histories and recording some of these things, so you'll see these. Pretty soon we'll have these in booths or whatever, but we recorded the oral history of Roger Bowen and Emma and Prohaska and folks like that. And so we want to hear those histories, and people want to see that. Your descendants, they want to see these, and this is what's going to be all part of it. I think we did Foster also. That's right. So again, it's fantastic. So I think at this time, do we do the ribbon cutting thing? Okay. All right. So if we can ask Ann to come on up here.
Becky.
And
Holly.
Becky, let's get some of the members that were involved in this.
Any member of the Archives Committee, come on up.
Where do we do this at?
Yeah.
Ann?
Yes, come on up, Ann.
Where do we do this?
We're going to do it so the flags.
All right, outstanding, okay. So Ann, if you come
Yeah,
in
you
here.
come over and get the scissors. That'd be great.
Get right here.
Okay.
Is there anybody else? Is that okay? All right, ready?
Let's do one pose when everybody look here.
Ready for us to close the scissors?
Yep.
You can put this in your purse. All right, so, very good.
So at this point, anybody who wants to grab a brochure, you can actually take a self-guided tour of the Foster Cass Archives Walk, which will take you through several different buildings, and you'll see different artifacts across campus. If you'd rather have a little assistance, we do have some students from our past group. They're standing in the back, and they can go ahead and help you take that tour. And finally, when you do come back, or if you're ever back on campus, when the library is open, can't encourage you enough to go ahead and take the self-guided oral history. It'll prompt you to answer several questions. Who was your favorite faculty member? What was a favorite student at Upper Iowa? And we'll go ahead and record those, and they'll be documented for generations to come. So again, on behalf of the university, thanks so much for being here and for helping us preserve the rich history here at UIU. Have a great day.